Hello, welcome to another episode of A Brit Does Baseball Does podcast. It's Rounders Roundup time. It's our second of the year, but this time there's like actual baseball going on. I'm here with Gaz and George. How you boys doing?
All good. I think this is George's Rounders Roundup debut.
It is my first one. I'm very excited.
Well, we're glad because we've got a lot of Mets talk to go over today, so it's gonna be a fun one for you. Hopefully, I don't know what's going on with the Mets. I very famously don't pay attention to baseball other than what happens in San Francisco, unless they're on the road. But I have seen some headlines, and it seems like the rookies are fucking taken over already.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a weird one where you kind of have like 4 or 5 top hitting prospects, top positional prospects, I should say. Haven't seen much from the pitchers yet. They're not really made their debuts just yet. I think we're all waiting for Nolan McLean for the Mets to make his first start of the year, which I don't think has happened yet. To my knowledge.
He did. He was yesterday.
Oh, okay. Did he do well?
Yeah. Shaky start, but ended with like 8 Ks through 2 runs. Pretty good.
Perfect. That's why George is on the podcast, to make up for my idiocy. But we're talking about the positional prospects. We've got some famous names if you're into your prospect hunting, or maybe you're a card collector, or maybe you're just a fan of one of these teams. The rookies really shone. JJ Weatherholt, first round pick by the Cardinals back in, I think 2024. He was like the 4th or 7th overall pick. He's only been on the Cardinals now for 3 games, and in 3 games he went deep in his debut against the Rays, and he also has a walk-off hit in his second game in MLB, which is much more than I've achieved in 29 years on this earth. It's just a shame it's for the Cardinals and not the Cubs. Free agent signing Murakami for the White Sox. Now the White Sox got obliterated by the Brewers this weekend, unfortunately, as people may have expected. But Murakami shone. He homered in each of his first 3 games, which I believe makes him. No, I'm thinking of someone else. Either way, he did really well, even if one of them was in a blowout 14-1 loss and Murakami got the second run on the board for the White Sox. It's fun. I like it when players that come over from Japan do well. Not for the Dodgers.
He's going to be one of those guys that just like he strikes out or hits home runs every single time. I mean, he's electric, but also you watch some at bats and you're like, what are you even doing? Like, this doesn't look serviceable. And then he hits the biggest home run you've ever seen.
I'd take it, honestly, at this point.
Yeah.
I'd take a 1 in 7 shot that it's going to be a home run. That's fine enough.
Yeah, he's on pace for 162 home runs this year. So,
jeez, I did see the highlights of the Tigers-Padres game. I watched the opening day highlights, and Kevin McGonigal, what a guy!
Yep.
What a name, first of all. That's a baseball player's name if I ever fucking heard. Kevin McGonigal.
Makes me think of Harry Potter. What's it, Professor McGonagall?
Hell yeah.
Anyway, he wizarded up some hits. He got 4 hits on his debut. He's only the 21st player in the history of MLB to achieve this, which sounds a bit ridiculous. It's like, okay, 20 other players have done it. But then you think about how long MLB's been going, and it's like, okay, no, that's pretty decent.
And there's, 40 people on every team to start the year?
Yeah, it's not a bad achievement to be in.
It's pretty wild.
This next one's a bit of a weird one. Chase DeLauter for the Guardians. Now, he technically made his MLB debut last year in the playoffs for the Guardians, for God knows whatever reason why. But it was his first ever regular season game the weekend just gone. And for some reason, his hit in the playoffs apparently doesn't count towards his stat line. I'm not sure how it works. Anyway, in his official MLB big league debut, they were playing against the Mariners, and Big Dumper must have been hating this because he went yard 4 times in 3 games. Becoming this one I did read up. He's the second player to have done this. The first being Trevor Story back in 2016 with the Rockies, I think.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was wild. Like that whole opening day was just watching different rookies hit home runs like over and over again. But DeLauter was just, and McGonagall was just crazy. It was so cool to see, actually.
Like, three of them are in the AL Central, like Murakami for the White Sox, McGonagall for the Tigers, and DeLauter for the Guardians. Maybe that makes this division a lot more watchable, because beforehand I was going into the season thinking, I don't care who wins that division. They're not going to do anything.
And now it's who's going to win Rookie of the Year, and that's quite exciting. If this is the fucking pace that they're going to set, hell yeah, I'm ready. We were warned that this would happen as well. The episode we did with the is it Caught Looking in Glee?
Yeah, Sarah from that one, she did say Chase DeLauter.
She was saying he's gonna be real good, and we were like, all right, well, we'll see. Fucking right. Very, very correct about that.
It's a good thing we didn't dismiss it. We were like, yeah, that could happen, and it has. So you heard it here first, technically.
Yeah, we said we'd keep an eye on it, and then it was impossible to not do that.
There were 4 rookies to hit home runs on their debuts. Murakami, Chase DeLauter, JJ Weatherholt were 3 of them. The 4th one, and we saved until last because it flows very nicely into our second topic, Carson Benj, who only really made the team because my hero, Mike Tauchman, went down with a knee injury at the end of spring training. He wasn't expected to make the opening day roster. Well, Mike Tauchman's knees, they're not exactly like Giancarlo Stanton's. He will recover, but he didn't make the opening day roster. He'll be back at some point. But Carson Benj took over. He went yard in his Mets debut. And I'm going to hand over to George because George has got a lot more to say about this game.
I think the most interesting thing about Carson Benj's day, other than hitting a home run in his debut, was that a dead bird fell into the outfield right next to him in like the 4th or 5th inning. And it was a moment where you're like, oh God, this is either like a sign from the gods in a good way or a bad way. Like, does this portend something evil happening to the Mets once again? But no, it was a good omen in the end. It was such a nice moment, I think, for him. Like you're saying, like Tauchman had a great spring, so it wasn't necessarily guaranteed that Benj would make the roster, even though they clearly gave him a shot. But for him to go deep, he struggled a bit since then. Like he can't seem to hit a fastball, which is an issue. But his defense is great. He's kind of electric once he gets going. Like, yeah. It is exciting. It is exciting. That whole game was exciting.
Yeah, no, the team the Mets were playing when Carson Benj went yard were the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they had a back-to-back Cy Young winner in Paul Skeens on the mound. But it was a bit of an interesting game for old Skeensy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I was watching this game on terrible Wi-Fi on the Eurostar, and I was kind of trying to follow updates, and it was such a weird start because Freddie Peralta started for the Mets, and it was like a slow start, didn't pitch very well, gave up a couple runs. Oh God, this season is just going to be another one of those ones where nothing really goes right. And then Skeens gets on the mound, and I think people have kind of put this down to O'Neil Cruz just being terrible in defense, like having 2 really bad plays. Which, is fair. He did make 2 really bad plays. But then there was like a 13 pitch at bat walk that he gave up. Like he was giving up contact all over the place. He looked completely lost, like in a way that we haven't ever really seen Paul Skeens look before. So that brought me some joy, I have to admit. 5 runs through 2 outs. What was it? I think you wrote it down in the chat, Gaz, but something like a 60-something ERA.
I think it's 67.5 ERA, which is not good for anyone who put him in the fantasy team, which I didn't this year. I didn't draft Paul Skeens, thank God.
Yeah, it was a wild time. It brought me a lot of joy, I have to admit.
I'll be honest. I did watch that in live because it was the first game of the real, in my eyes, opening day after the Yankees and Giants had that shit show on Netflix. And like the 2 O'Neil Cruz errors were, the first one was like he just misread where the ball was going, took a weird route, went over his head. But if you're a half decent center fielder, you make that catch. The second one was more of a pop up and he lost it in the sun. That can happen. But when they were literally on back-to-back at-bats, I don't think O'Neil Cruz is going to be on Paul Skeens' Christmas card list after that opening day performance.
No, and they benched him the next day as well. So that says something. Although he was back for day 3. So Maybe he'll be in and out.
Maybe they kissed and made up.
What do you think you could get for O'Neil Cruz if you were to trade him? Like, is he like he has to be worth something, right?
How old is he?
He's only like 24. No, he'd be a bit older, 27 maybe.
Yeah, he's not old enough to like write him off.
I'd give him a bullpen arm.
Yeah.
I'll give him Michael Conforto, actually. I've just thought about that, speaking from a Cubs perspective. You take Michael Conforto and I don't know, Ben Brown. They can have Ben Brown as well. And we'll take O'Neil Cruz and you chuck in a starting pitcher. Give me Mitch Keller. Why not? I don't think that would ever happen, but I'll give him Michael Conforto for O'Neil Cruz.
Watching Mitch Keller pitch 9 shutout innings on Saturday, I think they'll be asking for a lot more for Mitch Keller. But that might just be the Mets lineup, so hard to say.
I don't know what I'd give up for O'Neil. Maybe like 2 not top 30 prospects.
Depends on I don't know how many years of control you'll get with him.
I don't think it's many, because last year there was a whole thing where he just kind of stopped playing. Like, he was in the lineup, but he just, like, this happened again, except he would just stand there. And it was like, well, they said that they weren't going to trade him, and so he was like on field protesting. That was quite a strange time.
Yeah, a bit of a weird time to be a Pirates fan. Do you know who it's not been a weird time for this weekend?
Who?
Umpire C.B. Buckner, who, after the retirement of Angel Hernandez 2 years ago now, my guy is taking a stand against this ABS system, let me tell you. For those of you that don't know, the ABS system, automated ball strike system, or ABS, as I like to call it. It was brought in this year for the first time ever in MLB regular season play. And C.B. Buckner, silent protest. And Cal's going to tell you why.
You've not seen a man get so many calls so viciously wrong and get so defensive and upset about it in quite a long time. Yeah, I don't have the stats of how many challenges were made and what was overturned, but the highlight for sure is kind of these calls keep getting overturned, and he has to like announce it to the whole crowd as well that it's going to happen. And it's clearly getting in his head and he's freaking out about it. And Trevor Story, he's having an at-bat. He checks his swing, and Big CB's so rattled that he calls him out without even conferring with anyone else. Trevor Story is furious. He's having to be physically restrained. Everyone, there's limbs all over the place. It was one of the generational crash outs on live TV, I think.
Yeah, so I'll give you the stats. There were 8 calls challenged in the Red. Maybe he got confused because it was the Reds playing the Red Sox. Now, I would get confused if both teams had red in their name, and then it's also like red, and then there's an S after it, whether or not it's Sox or Reds. So maybe he just got his wires crossed. I don't know. He is known for also being shit, but anyway, MLB, we still love you. Please promote us. They're separate from the umpires. Amazing. Right, we can actually say that. Stevie Buckner is not a good umpire. So there were eight calls challenged, and 6 of them were overturned, including, and quite incredibly, 2 back-to-back calls. He just must have had it out for Eugenio Suarez, because there were 2 balls back-to-back that CB Buckner called a strike, and both times Suarez appealed. It got overturned to a ball, and Suarez ends up walking. And it was like on 2-2 or something. So Buckner kept trying to get Suarez out. He must have had it out for him.
It was crazy. It was like the most. I think it was like bases loaded, 2 outs, like both overturned. Like it's the most high leverage. I think people are saying that like in extra innings or the playoffs, maybe it should be automatic. So you don't avoid that situation. Because like, could you imagine like bases loaded, 2 outs in a playoff game? And you don't have any challenges left, you'd be so pissed off.
Yeah, but also it's the art of using your challenge correctly. Like I think the ABS system, I was for it coming into the season, and now we've had like 3-4 games with it. I think it's fantastic, actually. I really like it. There was a a fun like little duel that happened between Austin Wells and Patrick Bailey in the Giants Yankees series, where they were just trading off correct challenges, and it was wildly exciting. It got to like the 6th challenge, and everyone's like, "Oh!" Like, and then I think one went the other way. I think Austin Wells got one wrong, and the cheering that went off around the stadium, it's crazy. But it seems to me though that I don't know if this is true, and it probably isn't, but it feels like if a pitch is called a ball and it's challenged and it's given strike, it seems to be that the batter is then almost always immediately out after. And if it's a strike and it's called a ball, they will reach base. There's has to be some strange statistics there about with a call being overturned and then the opposite kind of outcome happening anyway.
I think if we have more than like 4 days of it, we could do some stats analysis. It's also something that we don't have a statistician at Brit Does Baseball, and I'm not inclined to start that just yet, unless Nathan could maybe do it.
Yeah, he's a nerd.
He'd enjoy that. We'll get back to you on that one. Yeah, the ABS system has been good. I mean, I kind of saw both sides of it in the Cubs National Series. Pivotal moment in the first game when Nico Horn was taken one inside. Very clearly a ball, still had 2 challenges. It was bases loaded. Instead, he doesn't challenge it. He would have walked. It's bases loaded for Moises Ballesteros. Instead, he grounds into a double play. And it was very clearly a ball. We still had 2 challenges. If you're not going to challenge then, why not? I believe something similar happened with Cal Raleigh and the Mariners. On the other side of that, one of the Nunez, one of the Nationals hitters, challenged a middle fastball that was called a strike because he didn't think it was a strike. It was like a good, 6 inches in the zone. Immediately gets called out on the next pitch that was borderline, but he didn't have any challenges left. One thing I heard from one of the podcasts I listened to, the Baseball Barbercast, on opening day, there was only 1 challenge that was issued by a pitcher, and that was Zach Pop for the Phillies, and he got that completely wrong. So I think it kind of supports the fact that pitchers maybe shouldn't be the ones doing the challenges. It should be the catchers from the pitching side.
I did see one in the Blue Jays A's series that we're gonna talk about just now, where it was one of the A's pitchers. I can't remember who, but he got a pitch called ball on the inside, and he challenged it immediately. And you see the catcher's eyes just no. Unfortunately, it was a strike. He was correct. The call was overturned, but it was the sheer panic on the catcher's face just immediately. Like, I know that technically you can do this, but don't. This is my job, please.
I saw one on in spring training where the pitcher challenged, but the pitcher's motion takes him like 5 feet to the right of the mound every time he throws. So he's just got the worst angle of it. And so like, it was like a foot outside and he challenged it, and it didn't go well.
I know. I think leave it to the catchers and occasionally the hitters if they think it's particularly egregious. But I mean, the ABS is leading to more strikeouts, but you told me the stat just before. This was the most strikeouts in a series ever or something? Nonsense?
Yeah, a couple of caveats. It's a 3-game series, which makes it even more impressive. The Blue Jays, I mean, I don't know what the Athletics were doing because they were actually quite close games, but it seemed like they were either swinging for the hills or, either making contact or striking out. So they struck out 50 times to the Blue Jays across 3 games, which there is an extra innings game in there somewhere. But the Blue Jays swept the A's, unsurprisingly. A couple of records as well, which was quite nice. So Kevin Gausman had 11 strikeouts, who was the starter in game 1, and that is the most on opening day in the Blue Jays franchise.
Oh, hell yeah.
That was nice. And then you think, you couldn't get much better than that, could you? You could. Dylan Cease the day after went 12 strikeouts, which is the most on debut for the Blue Jays franchise in history. He is known as a strikeout machine. And then probably not on everyone's bingo card to get to be like the third starter, but Eric Lauer just got the 9 strikeouts from the third game. Not really many. 50 strikeouts in a 3-game series is a record in MLB.
That's insane.
Cease looked unreal in that start. Like I was like, I wouldn't want to sign Cease. Like I don't know about the numbers, but he just looks so good. He looks so good.
Yeah, I mean, he's always struck people out. He's always been quite durable. I think the issue is he does give up runs, but he pitched against the Cubs in the playoffs last year, and they won game 2 because we could just not hit him. Like he's just throwing like 97 top of the zone, and we were swinging at ghosts by the end of it.
Yeah,
it happens. It just happens.
I mean, one footnote from this story: Shea Langoliers, A's catcher, in the Brit Does Baseball dream team or fantasy baseball, so he is getting points for the team. For those that don't know, me, George, and Cal are sharing the team this year with Alan as well. I think Josh has got his own team because he didn't really know what was going on when I put the question in, and in the end, he just signed up.
So, who is actually in our team? I was there when you were drafting. I know that we've got the good Max Muncy that plays for the A's.
Yeah, he hit home run this weekend.
Dog.
We're talking all about home runs because we're about to go into kind of an update on our home run draft. But just, fantasy tips here. I just went for power. So I've got Cal Raleigh, Pete Alonso, A's Max Muncy, Miguel Andujar, who's not played a game for the Padres yet. So that was a bit of a faux pas. Good. Joey Ortiz at shortstop, and then I've got an outfielder, Byron Buxton, Luis Rivera Jr., and Cedric Mullins, with Shea Langoliers in the utility spot, which is basically you can put any position player you want there. The rotation is Cade Horton, Cam Schlittler, Tatsui Imai, Mitch Keller, and Connolly Early. And our relief pitchers are Mason Miller, the good Rogers, the one that's in the Blue Jays. And that's the one. And Lucas Ursich for the Royals, because I was an auto draft because I'd had a couple of pints by them. We got Trey Savage on our bench, so when he's fit again.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'll be honest, I had no idea who was on our fantasy team, but I'm feeling pretty confident now. I think that's a decent team.
I think we can work out a trade to get Cal Raleigh to Josh and then get whoever is in Josh's outfield over to us.
I purposely got Cal Raleigh just so after 2 weeks I can trade him to Josh and just take whoever I want. I
think we could actually trade each player, like just a complete team swap with Nathan. I reckon he'd do it.
He would, with the exception of Byron Buxton. I'm saving that one for the Twins fan in our league. Friend of the pod, Adam. Anyway, that's enough about fantasy baseball tips because people might be listening to this and they may be thinking, "Oh, I'm not going to take Byron Buxton." Yeah, you will. You just don't know it yet. We said about home runs at the start of the year. We did a home run draft. Still haven't released the episode again because I was hungover at the weekend. I do apologize. But we've got an update. So George has volunteered to keep stats on who's out of the Brit Does Baseball team is winning the home run draft. So George, over to you.
Yeah, this spreadsheet, I can't find an easy way to automate this or do it properly. So I am just Googling each player individually and updating their home runs, which is time consuming. Small sample size, but so far it's a pretty one-sided affair. Josh has 5 home runs. Alan has 2 home runs. I have 1 home run, and then it's zeros across the board from there.
Who's got all the home runs for Josh?
Munetaka Murakami has 3. So that really that does the damage. And then Carl Schwarber has 1, and Eugenio Suarez has 1 as well for Josh. Alan's 2 are from Aaron Judge, both. And then my 1 is from Yordan Alvarez. But
he went yard. Guys
like Shohei, Cal Raleigh, Pete Alonso, Vladimir Guerrero, Nick Kurtz, Teoscar Hernandez, Acuna, Caminero, all 0. So this will change, obviously, but it's been a pretty slow start, I'd say.
Who drafted Teoscar Hernandez?
Alan has Teoscar Hernandez.
And he was there for that draft. Oh, that's just a wild thing. Anyway, sorry, ignore me.
I mean, as I'm going through and Googling them, I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, somebody did take him. I think the most egregious one I can see on this list is, it might be Teoscar Hernandez, actually. That's not ideal. There's a lot of investment into this A's lineup from a few people. So seeing them get absolutely just demolished by the Blue Jays was not a great start to the season for anybody.
Sorry, we only care if they hit bombs.
They did.
Yeah.
They did do that.
Anyway, so we're going to finish up it's probably going to be tradition now on the Rounders Roundup. A lot of podcasts kind of go into detail about one or two different teams because there might be a Cubs podcast or a Yankees podcast. We like to try and cover all 30 teams. We're not going to get there with all 30 because I'll be honest, I'm probably not going to watch a Twins game this year, even if they do play the Cubs. It's just got 1-0 Twins written all over it for the 3 games. So instead, what we're going to do is whoever's on the Rounders Roundup, we're just going to give them an opportunity to let us know what their club's been up to in the last week. So if you don't know, George is a Mets fan, Cal's a Giants fan, and I'm a Cubs fan. Because we've already touched on them, George, I'm going to let you kick it off with the Mets. What have the Mets been up to this week? What they got coming up? Give us a Mets update.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good start. Obviously, the first game of the season was exciting, 11-7 against the Pirates. That Skeens inning just kind of was a lot of goodwill. And I think like the most impressive thing from the first game was that like they spent the entire off season being like, we're going to get smaller, we're going to play like bat to ball, good contact hitters, good runners and scoring position players. And that actually happened. Guys like Bo Bichette were putting the ball in the air and getting runners in. Luis Robert looked really good. Jorge Polanco, even Marcus Semien, looked good in that first game. And then the next 2 games were dire offensively. Just absolutely nothing in games 2 and 3. Sorry. One on a very, very exciting Luis Robert walk-off home run in extra innings in game 2, which was great. But had nothing going otherwise. And then in game 3, similar story, just nothing really going. And then almost won it on a Jorge Polanco walk-off home run in extra innings again, but it felt like maybe 2 feet short of the fence. So that was a tough loss. I'd say like for the casuals, for the people who aren't following the Mets every day, like the pitching has looked okay. And you'll probably be most interested to hear that Bo Bichette has looked fine at third base, but terrible at the plate. Like, has no clue where the strike zone is like swinging the bat at balls at his feet, like jumping out of the way to swing at them, like just has absolutely no clue where the zone is. He got booed yesterday.
I heard
2.5 games into the season.
I was going to ask
that. He took it well, but that's not great. I mean, he'll put it together. Like, he'll be fine. He'll probably still hit over 300 just because that's who he is. But, like, not a great start. The pluses are good pitching and Luis Robert Jr., who I think people are kind of given up on the White Sox through 3 games, looks really good. So that's a positive.
It's great for our fantasy team.
Yeah.
I was like, he might hit 20 bombs and no one really cares. I did hear that Bichette was getting booed, which I think is incredible for he's on what, $42 million this year?
Yeah. I mean, the benefit of that contract that people are like, well, it's only a rental. It's like, well, if he keeps playing like this, then it's good that he's only a rental because I don't want any more of this.
Yeah, but he can keep opting in each one. So I think it's like 3 years, 42 million each year. So if he has an absolute stinker, he's going to be like, okay, I guess I'll just earn $42 million again next year.
I hadn't considered that.
So he has a bit more of a power. They could just trade him, of course.
Yeah.
Go to the Rockies. Why not? I would like to end it on a negative note. So I'm going to go next, Kat, if that's okay, because it kind of makes sense because the Mets did win their series against the Pirates. The Cubs lost to who we put in our power ranking as I think they were the bottom place team in the power ranking. We lost 2-1 to the Nationals in the series. I had the displeasure of watching the 2 games we did lose in its entirety. Game 1, Matthew Boyd he struck out 7 through 3 innings, had given up a solo home run, and we sort of got the lead back. And then in the 4th inning, completely came apart. Don't know how many runs he ended up giving up, but instead we thought we'll bring in our most reliable reliever, known baseball offender Ben Brown came in. Who, if you don't know Ben Brown, a lauded prospect, has a really good fastball, a really good knuckle curve. The issue is he hasn't got a very good third pitch, if any. So if you're on the plate, you're literally waiting for a knuckle curve or a fastball. It's 50-50. Odds on you will get one right sooner rather than later. Just sort of stunk the joint up. And even when we got back into it a little bit later, because Ben Brown was doing, fun stuff like spiking pitches and letting the runner from third score, we didn't win that game. Second game was, business as usual for the Cubs. Miguel Amaya got his first home run of the season. Ian Happ got a home run, sort of like a workman-like 10-2 win. Cade Horton threw 75 pitches in 6 1/3 innings, which is incredible. He could be on track for a really nice year again. Third game was probably the most flat. Shota Imanaga either looks like the best pitcher in the world or the worst pitcher in the world, all within the same inning. He struck out the side. Unfortunately, in between striking out the second and the third batters, he gave up a 3-run home run, which kind of just set the tone. Bregman went deep twice. Ian Happ went deep again, which was good. But again, just the bullpen couldn't really hold it together, and we just not hitting enough. We're just not hitting well enough with runners in scoring position. It's early days, so I'm not too despondent on it. Like, I was watching it going, it is what it is. But there's a thing where it's like you rather play the good teams early because both teams are going to be in the same sort of still spring training mode. Instead, we've played the team that will probably have the second worst record in the National League this year, and they've just taken the series off us. So if you ignore that, it was fine. Bit of extension talk. We've extended Nico Horner for 6 years and PCA for 5 years. So that's good to have them locked up along with Bregman and Swanson. So we've basically got an infield and a centre fielder now set for the next 4 to 5 years. So it was good on that regard. I was really happy when we extended Nico. But yeah, it was a bit of a miffed one. But we go again. We've got the Angels coming to town, so I might give our friend Nico a bit of good banter until to be fair, the Angels look pretty good. So maybe not. So there's only one place we can finish up, and that is the site of opening day proper. The Yankees came to town against Cal's San Francisco Giants. Cal, what went on?
Not fucking much. The Giants scored 1 run across 3 games. That's kind of the largest issue I had with it. We didn't hit much, but like whatever, that happens. It's sad and it's sucky. The only real kind of problem, I think, was in the first game against Logan Webb, the Yankees put up 5 in 1 inning. And that was the only time that it really got like out of hand, which is, getting quite out of hand. But the rest of the games were like 3-0, 3-1. It was nothing. They weren't great games of baseball for anybody. But there's a lot of Giants fans kind of freaking out because of the risk of hiring Tony Vitello, and they're going, see, this was never going to work. It's like, chill the fuck out. Good friend of the podcast, Dylan is not a dragon. I can't remember. You see Dylan, him. He put up a video today, which was on brand as being very good, where he broke down the numbers, and it's so 3 games into the season is 1.85% of the season. And in NFL terms, we are 3 minutes into the second quarter of the first game.
Wow.
So I was feeling a little bit upset. So I was like, oh, man, this infield is so good. And the outfield's like actually pretty solid. And, Casey Schmidt started all of these games. I'm feeling good. And it wasn't great. But then if you break it down to we're not even halftime of game 1 of 17 for the NFL, then there's still time. The Yankees are a good team. Their pitchers were fantastic, and their hitting was just pretty good. And ours was not. Is kind of it. I think the Yankees set a record for 3 consecutive opening day sweeps. That's like the first in franchise history or something. whatever. I'm happy to be a part of history. Happy to have helped you. I think they got game 2, and we went, you know what? Let's help them. I know that it would make Alan happy. And they'd say, who's Alan? And we go, don't worry about it. And he's got a cool clothing company, though. But yeah, pretty disappointing. But we've got the Padres, and for no reason whatsoever, I'm unbelievably optimistic again. I think it's because we haven't played in like 2 days. So I'm back.
It's always, I felt worse for you because, so what, you had the opening day and then you had a whole day of baseball in between the first and the second games. And it was like, just waiting for something to happen. Whereas like, I felt it for the Cubs, and we played on the Thursday and the Saturday. But because you're like the first team to do it, that's all anyone's talking. Like, it's the only team that played. It's the only thing people are talking about for that 24-hour news cycle. So it just hits home a little bit. But when you know, if this had happened in April or May, you'd have been like, oh, fuck it. We got, like you said, the Padres straight up next. It's just because it's right at the start. It's unfortunate. But it means you don't have to play the Yankees again this year as well. So
it's true. Yeah, I'm not super stressed out about it. We were very good through all of spring, and now we're back to the Giants. But we are currently on pace to go 0 and 162. So if we could score more than 1 run every 3 games, score, what would that be, like 54 runs on the season? That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Here's hoping. That's pretty much going to wrap it up for this week's Rounders Roundup. If this is your first time listening because you've taken inspiration from our Beefy King post from the other day as to like who is the best 2026 Beefy King, the answer is of course Kyle Raleigh, but I'll let you make your own minds up there. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. We have a new theme tune as well, which I should have mentioned. Someone mucked up the upload last week, that being me, because, again, probably hungover. And it was only available on the YouTube version. But Cal and the guys at Crocodile Death Trap put together a nice theme tune for us. So, if you like that, give them a follow. I haven't got anything else to plug, and I'm droning on, and we're over the half-hour time limit. So, well, as I say, you've been absolutely fabulous. We will catch you next week for the Rounders Roundup. And, yeah, enjoy baseball.
Or don't.